The Greeks say people are divided into the living, the dead, and those at sea.
Мертвых и тех, кто в море.
There is fog here. You can't see anything. A ship is coming home, but it's far out. We aren't sure of its position. Because there is no GPS, no tablets. Hence the philosophy of a person living on the edge of the world, between life and death.
На краю земли, на краю света. Между жизнью и смертью.
What is the edge of the earth up north? It is the cosmos. The way. Tambe, this is Sibir. Go ahead. Good evening. Did you hear the update? We're going all the way to Cape Jelania now. Good evening. No, that's the first I'm hearing of it. Well, that's great. Good news. We'll escort you all the way to the ice edge at Cape Jelania. Vlad, wind starboard. Heavy drift. Do you see the left edge I lit up? I see it. Great. Let's switch to channel 11. We'll start turning right. Actually, better give it some more power. Today is Saturday, April 22nd. Temperature 0, blizzard conditions, visibility 2 cables. At 1600 hours, we are crossing the northern territory of the port of Dudinka. Everyone to the mess hall, enjoy your meal. We had to head further west again. Captain of the nuclear icebreaker Sibir. Since the build? Built and commissioned her myself. You are in the Holy of Holies, the captain's cabin. This is the neck of a champagne bottle. It was broken by our godmother, Tatiana Alexeyevna Golikova. I'm still a petty officer first class. I gave 3 years to the Naval Border Guards. I keep the victory banner over the Reichstag in my cabin. I took the victory banner. This is relevant to me. I love the motherland. If they say to the trenches, I'll go to the trenches. I started in '90. That's 33 years in the Arctic. My father was a miner in the Yakut settlement of Dzhebariki Kaya. That means Black Mountain, referring to the coal. Below ran the Aldan River. Magnificent passenger steamers and tankers passed by. It was beautiful. That is likely when I got the bug to become a sailor. I studied at the Makarov Academy in St. Petersburg and graduated in '90. I was assigned to work on nuclear icebreakers. Station 4 meters. Go left 3 meters. For me, this is life. The icebreaker is my breadwinner, so you must take care of her. You have to take care of your breadwinner. The captain is a big, kind guy, strict but fair. He looks ahead, moves through the ice, and leads the convoy. I plan to be a cosmonaut like every kid of my generation. But nuclear icebreaker captains are rarer than cosmonauts. I didn't dream of becoming a captain. I didn't know a thing about icebreakers. I didn't even know they existed. Fate brought me to Murmansk. I went there to get a job on the tankers. But there were no tankers. They told me to sit on an icebreaker for a month until a tanker came in. Well, 16 years later, I'm still sitting. But I like it. Breaking the ice, freeing convoys, it is real work, difficult and dangerous. There are few places with tougher conditions.
Простая и опасная.
The weather changes in hours. No forecast guarantees you won't hit a headwind storm.
За несколько часов
There will be nowhere to go.
тебе не предскажет, что ты не столкнешься со встречным штормом,
And in this cold sea, surviving more than 15 minutes is impossible.
которым продержаться больше 15 минут мало реально.
But the desire to look beyond the horizon is strong here.
Она здесь очень сильная.
The people who came here are driven to reach the edge.
Дойти до следующего края.
You're about to make a Coke. Small, huh? Small, yes. The Coke is the most famous vessel invented by the Pomors.
Судно, которое изобрели поморы.
Pomors are the Russians of the sea.
Это те русские, которые живут на море.
Pomor'e is truly the birthplace of our maritime culture.
Нашей
This is where it all began.
морской культуры центр. Вот здесь все началось.
When migrants arrived in the 11th century, they adapted riverboats into seagoing ships.
Для озер.
It was like an icebreaker, a vessel that could sail through the ice.
Ледокол — судно, которое могло ходить среди льдов.
A culture and philosophy were born. They used to say, the sea is our field.
Море — наше поле, как они же говорили.
Basically, they were the first to sail in the Arctic. When the Dutch sought a path to China past Novaya Zemlya, they were starving and freezing.
За новую землю в устье Оби
Bearded Pomors ran across the ice to them, sharing their bread and canned food.
бежали такие вот бородатые поморы с хлебом.
A spoonful of canned food? Yes, please. They were surprised by how well explored the region already was. The Pomors played a key role in the exploration of Siberia.
В истории освоения Сибири.
Their ability to build Arctic ships allowed the Russians to make such a rapid leap forward.
Сделать такой стремительный бросок.
The Northern Sea route won't work without icebreakers.
Без ледоколов не заработает.
We are incredibly high-powered vessels.
Энерго вооруженные.
A small nuclear reactor? No, we have two immense reactors. The power is immense.
Мощности немерено.
It felt like the ship was jumping out from under me. That was the sensation, that it's just always like this here. You feel the power, but you get used to it. Eventually, it feels normal.
Вот оно так и должно быть.
We shouldn't hold back. Why? We are a northern country. 70% of our territory is above the Arctic Circle in the permafrost.
В полярной мерзлоте.
And we need to develop it. There is a massive amount of natural resources here.
Природных ресурсов.
Gas, oil, nickel, copper, gold, platinum, the whole periodic table.
Таблица Менделеева.
The number of projects here now is just mind-boggling.
Проектов здесь уму непостижимо.
Cargo turnover is growing. In the near future, maybe 10 years, it will exceed 100 million
За
tons.
100 миллионов.
And looking ahead, we're opening year-round navigation on the Northern Sea route.
Севморпути
It's shorter than going around Europe and through the Suez Canal.
вокруг Европы и через Суэцкий канал.
The specifics of working on the Northern Sea route are all about the north.
Пути вообще на
And the very first specific is that it's covered in ice. When I worked on the transport fleet, you'd reach the ocean, engage autopilot, and relax.
рулевой, все, и поехал.
You walk around just monitoring gauges.
Смотришь, и все здесь.
But that doesn't work here. Here, it's manual control absolutely all the time. Most importantly, there are ships behind us. Our job is to lead them through safely.
Их безопасно провести.
The ice is an aggressive environment.
Лед.
It is deceptive. You think you've already beaten it, but no.
Победил, но нет.
It's really like being in a minefield. You cannot finish your watch and just forget about the responsibility for a while.
Об ответственности.
We have two crews. One crew is on leave, the other is at work. We work 4 months, then rest 4 months.
Отдыхаем.
That's it. Duties and responsibilities accepted.
Все,
Congratulations on your 4 months.
на 4 месяца.
Have a good vacation. I was born in Petersburg, grew up in Murmansk. If my grandparents hadn't been aging, I would have stayed in Murmansk. Working at sea was a given. Both my grandfathers were connected to the fleet.
Что другой дедушка. Оба связаны с флотом.
Mom and dad were connected to the fleet. Arctic talk and interest were everywhere.
Везде. Разговоры про Арктику везде. Интерес про Арктику.
In a family like mine, you couldn't help but be fascinated.
Просто невозможно.
Генеральный пока такой-то 356,5.
I first boarded a nuclear icebreaker when I was 3. My paternal grandfather designed the old Arktika, Sibir, Russia, Yamal, and 50 years of victory.
Ямал, Советский Союз, 50 лет победы.
My dad worked on them. On Mom's side, my grandfather was the famous Captain Davidyansev.
Давыдянск.
Valentin Sergeyevich Davidyansev, my captain and mentor in life.
По жизни.
This is the Olympic voyage. The torch was lit at the North Pole. I wanted to become a captain. My father was a naval officer. It all fell into my soul. All this power, discipline, form.
Дисциплина, форма.
In 1959, I lived in Leningrad. Construction of the first nuclear icebreaker, the Lenin, was just finished. It arrived and was moored on the Neva, not far from the Hermitage. Naturally, the whole city was out on the embankment. The crowds were massive. Everyone wanted to see this marvel of Soviet engineering. My friends and I were right in the crowd, of course. I was 12 years old then. It never crossed my mind that one day I would eventually become its captain. I began working as a chief mate on the icebreaker Lenin. I feel that I went through an incredible school of life there. In terms of independent decision-making and working with international crews.
С людьми, так как интернациональные, как правило, экипажи были всех этих кораблей.
I started with Lenin.
Да, я начинала с Ленина.
There was a crew of 250 people. Despite the fact that there were so many people, it was very close-knit.
Очень дружно было.
It was both fun and friendly. Now, a lot of very young people are joining,
Молодых ребят. И
and the ones in this crew are friendly, good people. I'd just made captain, and look at the team I got. The whole bridge was
На
young.
мостике все молодые были.
They were new to their jobs.
Должности были первый раз.
People ask me, aren't you afraid to go to sea with them? But what is there to be afraid of on a nuclear icebreaker? It is scary every time.
Страшно.
When there's a risk, that fear is there for anyone at sea.
Каждого человека, который в море. Неважно, на каком судне или.
I dreamt that an icebreaker was moving down the main street of a city.
На улице какого-то города, вокруг дома.
Better not clip these houses. Crossroads coming up, got to turn, but how to turn between the houses? When you're moving through the ice, sometimes you feel you won't turn in time.
Ты вовремя не сможешь повернуть.
I shared this with my colleagues once, and they told me, we've had that dream too. The profession leaves the same mark on all of us.
На всех одинаковую печать.
Alexander. Oh, Alexander. Good day. Greetings. Nice to see you. Long time no see. I don't even remember how many years have passed. Well, this is the new Arktika.
Такая вот новая Арктика.
I was a cadet at the Admiral Makarov Academy.
Училище адмирала Макарова.
We studied on Vasilievsky Island,
Киевском острове.
and we walked past the Baltic shipyard every morning.
Киевского завода.
The nuclear icebreaker Arktika was being built there at the time.
Докул Арктика.
You could touch it, the Arktika, right at your fingertips.
Да, Арктика на кончиках пальцев.
During my internship in 1977, we were out at sea.
Мы были в море.
Radio Mayak announced the Arktika reached the North Pole.
Достиг Северного полюса.
For the first time, a surface ship reached the top of the world.
К самой вершине земного шара.
Soviet science and technology had achieved a new, outstanding victory.
Чуйся победу.
The age-old dream of many generations of brave sailors had come true.
И полярных исследователей.
I don't know if you can compare it to Gagarin, but it was something close.
Это что-то близкое.
5 people were named heroes of socialist labor for that voyage alone.
Труда.
Among them was Captain Yuri Sergeyevich Kuchiev.
Кучиев.
They don't just hand out hero titles for nothing. I went up to the bridge with this news.
Вместе пошел на мостик.
I was doing my internship there as an apprentice navigator.
Учеником штурмана.
He said, "Well, that's it, Barinov. You are destined for the Arktika." I said, "No, I don't even have such a dream."
Мечты
Well, 28 years on one icebreaker.
на одном ледоколе.
I think this is the only ship that has a flower on it.
Только стоит.
I have never seen anything like this.
Не видел такого.
On the new Arktika, first-timers are amazed by everything they see.
Удивляются.
There is little to surprise you. The captain of the new Arktika has his own keys,
Поколение, да? Ну, есть ключики свои там от каюты там.
and you might wonder, what kind of keychain does Captain Scriabin have?
Это
Look at the keychain. It's that very same old Arktika.
старая Арктика, да.
No matter what, whenever you go there, it feels like you're home. Well, I'll tell you a secret. I have the exact same one on my house keys.
Сейчас тоже домашних.
Let's step back a couple of meters. There's no one behind us. I can't hear a thing. Everything's rattling. 02 dropping. Wheel straight. Good, hold it. Holding. Speed is picking up. I can't. It won't let me go left. It lets me go right, but left is a no-go. So that's the deal.
Обстоят вот таким образом.
I wrote it down for you along the way. Take a look. When we took the icebreaker, we had to make a deal with him.
Договаривались.
The visibility of the corners is good from here. I don't even have a view like this on the Taimyr. Arktika, Sibir, Yakutia, Chukotka are being built. Then the Ural came out, and we all call him the male. It turns out he is the only boy in this series, and his character is roughly the same. He is very spirited. He is very nimble.
Шустрый.
Everything works with him if, as they say, you put him in capable hands. All these systems perform normally. The autopilot here is superb, of course.
Шикарный.
Occasionally, there are some little glitches, but he still digs in, keeps moving.
Что-то там.
He doesn't act up, basically. He doesn't ask for flowers. He's an icebreaker with real personality.
Ледокол получился.
I really liked the weekends, silence, calmness, and you alone walking and talking with the icebreaker.
И ты один ходишь и разговариваешь с ледоколом.
Yes, but I won't share my talks with the icebreaker.
Не буду ни с кем делиться.
That's a personal matter.
Личное взаимоотношение.
Because if the Arktika is alive, and I run my mouth to you now, she'll hear it.
А она это услышит.
And later, when I make a deal with the icebreaker, tough task, don't fail me, she'll go, huh? What was that you were blabbing about earlier?
Болтал-то.
Screw you, Captain.
Фиг тебе, капитан.
So yeah, don't blab, Captain.
Не болтай, капитан.
Does he have a soul?
Душа.
Of course he does. It's a living organism.
Живой организм, да.
Sometimes he gets sick, sometimes he breaks down. It gets repaired and continues to work. I have a chief mechanic.
Механик.
When the ship breaks, I communicate with him like a doctor. So what's hurting today?
Наболело.
Entering the control post where the engineers sit, we always say, this is the heart of the icebreaker,
Я говорю, это наше сердце ледокола.
the central control post. Now the navigation bridge, that's the eyes and ears.
Водитель — это глаза и уши.
The propellers are the legs.
Наши ноги.
And the brain is here. Because our charter doesn't allow shared decisions.
Нет коллегиального решения.
The captain makes all decisions independently and bears responsibility for everyone.
За всех.
No one can change a route laid out by the
Не
captain.
может изменить никто.
Everyone wants to prove they're the toughest until they meet someone tougher.
Получил.
But the most important thing on a ship is the galley.
Камбуз.
The galley. Today is Moscow borscht with smoked meats.
С копченостями.
It's everyone's favorite, and we serve it with sallow.
Суп. Подается он с салом.
For a main dish, we use 10 kilos of meat per meal, so that's 20 kilos a day.
Прием это значит 20 килограмм.
We need about 10 kilos of vegetables to match.
Тоже около 10 килограмм.
My father and paternal grandfather were carpenters.
Тоже был плотником.
I was also trained as a carpenter. Mom said I was a good cook, so I should try the kitchen. I worked my way up from cook to sous chef, and finally head chef.
Шефа
The Baltic shipyard was running trials for the lead icebreaker Arktika.
первого головного ледокола Арктика.
We've been feeding the crew since their first voyage.
С первых выходов в море
I liked it, and I decided to continue. Food and our menus are always a topic of discussion for the crew. You can hear them coming up the stairs asking, is it going to be something good?
что-то будет такое там.
Do you know what it is?
Нет, и я
Oh, nah, let's go check it out.
смотрю.
Судовое время 11 часов 30 минут.
They thank me, they're happy. Yeah, why else would they be happy? What's not to savor? These long hauls away from your family take a toll.
4 месяца тебя не видят, по 5 даром не проходят.
It's one summer at home, one summer at work, one New Year's with the family, the next one on duty.
Новый год на работе.
First, the kids started walking while we were away, then talking, then their teeth came in.
Потом зубы выросли.
It was impossible. There was no way to call home.
Нельзя было домой позвонить.
Every mail delivery was pure joy for us. The ice recon plane would drop the mail off. If there were no letters for you, it was heartbreaking.
Какая тоска.
Hello, hello. You haven't been home for so long. Hey, Janechka. Hello, my love. Hello. How's it going over there? We miss you so much. We're so glad to say hello and to hear from you. The cucumbers are blooming, and we went to the forest to pick mushrooms. The morels are out. Oh, don't rub it in. Stop rubbing it in. How's the shift? It's fine. Same as always, business as usual. We work, we miss home, just part of a sailor's life.
Все как у моряков.
Got a little bonus on the morning shift.
Бонусик небольшой медведь.
We spotted a bear. We don't see anything that exotic around here. Please take care of yourself. Hard life, a hard life all around. You think it's a joy, just kicking around out here in the ice.
Между льдов.
No greenery, nothing. Well, here are cucumbers. Fresh dill, arugula, tomatoes.
Помидоры.
Trying to grow. But then you can always just grab some dill and eat it. My father was an electrical engineer too. He also ended up on icebreakers, so I kind of followed in his footsteps.
Пошел.
Back in the day, icebreakers had special stations. We grew things there. A bit of greenery is a treat for the eyes. It's something different from all that white.
Другое.
On the Rossiya, my chief engineer really loved birds. There was a girl from the service staff.
С обслуги.
She was also a fan of parakeets.
Любительница их попугайчиков. Вот
The two of them would watch those little parrots mating.
там любовью занимаются.
Those parrots multiplied like crazy.
Появляется.
By the end of the season, you couldn't turn around without hitting one.
Попугаев там плюнуть некуда там было.
I've been lucky. I worked on the world's first nuclear icebreaker, the Lenin, then the Rossiya, then the largest in the world, the 50 years of victory. It never bothered me if we were delayed. I handled that icebreaker like it was a bicycle.
Я катался на ледоколе, как на велосипеде.
We're practically the only ones dealing with such massive frozen seas.
Такими огромными морями.
We have the largest icebreaker fleet. We have top-tier professionals,
Работают.
and that is something to be proud of.
Гордиться.
To be proud, you have to know. In spring 2011, captaining the Vegach, I raced full speed toward the Gulf of Finland.
Понесся, максимально допустимым ходом, огибая Скандинавию и Финский залив.
In the Baltic, 80 cargo ships were stuck in the ice. They were carrying food and spare parts to the ports of St. Petersburg. I said, "Don't move, stay put. You'll only make it worse. The icebreaker is nearby." By the time I reached the Gulf 5 days later, there were already 150 ships stuck there. And then followed a month and a half of intense work, rescuing those ships from the ice. Basically, we haven't found a single spot we couldn't get through. Without a doubt, we are the ones in charge of the Arctic. I once saw a program about a foreign ship, tourists or scientists, that got stuck. The ice conditions were heavy and they were trapped. I saw the video on the internet back in 2011. They were working near Greenland with the Swedish icebreaker Odin and got stuck. No other foreign icebreaker could reach them. It was the usual story. What we can't do, the Russians always can. So they called in the Victory. She arrived at full speed, throttles to the floor, 100% power. Ice was flying, the coat of arms on the bow was shining. And then, over the loudspeaker, the march Farewell of Slavianka. And there they were, shouting, "Russians! Russians!" Well, that's exactly how it should be. Captains receive awards for years of accident-free service.
За безаварийную работу.
10, 15, 25 years. I guess they figure captains don't live much longer. I've gone through all those stages. So yeah, I'm grandpa now. Now it's just about reaching his level. He's got the same fire in him as I do. My dream now is for my grandson to see this through.
Закончил все это дело.
Not to disgrace the family dynasty,
Династию здесь свою.
the grandfather who was always one of the best captains.
Лучших капитанов.
Everything is set up for him to rise to the rank he deserves.
Должности.
I would like him to become a captain. The first thing is to just remove the snow. Yeah, that's how we'd look on deck. I never liked it out there, though. He went to sea with me twice, you know. He sailed with me on the Rossiya and the Victory to the North Pole.
50 лет победы вот на Северный полюс.
A little Nakimov cap.
Фуражечка.
A ship captain. And after that, he finally came around to what his grandpa wanted.
Дедушки.
Following in my footsteps. Look, mine is hanging over there. Still has the Admiral Makarov Academy patch. When I started college, we had those exact patches, those same service stripes, but we didn't have the long greatcoats, we had pea-coats. Even this badge, cut off at the top, that's what annoyed us all. It's missing the braided trim. Putting it at the bottom would be one thing, but they put it right at the top. It used to drive me crazy every time I had to sew it on. It just wouldn't sit right, no matter what. If you put a piece of plastic wrap under it,
Кусок полиэтилена.
then cheesecloth on top and hit it with a hot iron. It glues right on. You're telling me this just in time. You should have served.
Надо было служить.
Что же, ответ разовись, какой надует. Ну все, ладно, спасибо.
Honestly, I don't care what anyone back there thinks about me, whether I'm well connected or not. Being connected is when you're in Moscow, fresh out of MGMO, heading to some embassy. We have plenty of work here. Shoveling snow, chipping ice. Call this connections?
Опять же, какой блат?
I feel at home on icebreakers, and I like all of this. The Arctic has drawn me in my whole life, and it still does. Look here, I have a library gifted by the United Shipbuilding Corporation.
Судостроительной компании.
Just like Peter the Great, he started sending expeditions from here, the 100th anniversary of the discovery of the Northern Sea Route. In touch. We have a turn coming up in 1 mile. The channel is snowed over, dropping speed. Once we clear it, we'll increase speed. Copy that, understood. And how heavy is it to the west? Or don't you know yet? Well, it's quite a lot this year. When I first started on icebreakers, there was still a book library. Normal, real books. Now we have books, but they are all, so to speak, at work. But back then, there was a lot about the seas, discovery, and Nansen's treks to the North Pole. He went on skis and with dogs. These were people who were devoted to their cause. Very brave, determined. They were ready to sacrifice themselves. Heroes. To me, they are all heroes. All right, clear. I'm moving ahead then. Get the men ready. They were stepping out into space, yes. And that beauty of their expeditions, the search for the North Pole, that ultimate point of interest. There is something special here. That's why people are drawn to the North. It's the proximity to space, the proximity of these cosmic manifestations. And those constant questions. What is life for? It is perhaps the inevitable path forward. All those names on the map of the Arctic. They made discoveries and maps. The ships were wooden, but the men were iron.
Шли по всему морпути, корабли были деревянные, люди были железные.
The ice floes are right there behind my bulkhead, but we get along. I'm used to it by now. I don't even notice the noise or any of that. I wash, I iron, just so everything is clean and tidy. We live here as one single crew. Wonderful guys. And they are always so polite. Always Ms. Valentina. The boys are changing bed linens today. Today is linen change day. I know them all by heart. What they like, what they want. I know everything about them. This one, for example, likes to have 2 colored towels. One green, and there has to be. That one doesn't like towels at all. This one likes it just so. He needs 3 pillowcases. They are all different, you see. There are guys who are real live wires, and then there are some, you just want to help them like a mother. You just want to hug them and hold them close. Just pat them on the head. Yes. We look in the mirror. When heading out for a watch, you have to try to see a face in the mirror that is ready for work. A good face is a smiling one. Go to work in a good mood, in high spirits. If you see a sad face, like you just ate a lemon, well, take some measures. After your watch, go out and walk the outer deck. 20, 40 laps. Walk the helipad, go to the gym, run around with a ball. I joined the Nuclear Icebreaker Fleet way back in '91. We arrived young, and the crew was young. Just like Valera here, he's young too. It was fun. There was less TV, less internet and all that. More socializing. We had the gym, just like now. Now the work is very intense. There are practically no stops. But back then, it happened that two icebreakers might meet up. Imagine, no land for months and then a meetup. By the way, I'm a radiation safety engineer, since you asked. And tennis? We used to have good partners on the icebreakers who played tennis. Now I'm trying to teach someone a little bit. Here is Valera. I try to be diligent. See, here is our youth. A future captain. Sometimes I think about how 99.9% of people don't work at sea. They manage to live. But for us sailors, the North is like another planet. Northern lights, polar bears. You'd think the romance would fade, but no. With a work schedule like this, what romance? I can't predict even 10% of what the icebreaker will have to face on the next voyage. It was 2010. I still remember it. The icebreaker went like this. I was on the bridge on watch. Everything in here was flying around, of course. The ship just plunged downward, almost vertical. Water crashed over the top of it. My shirt was soaked through. I was just standing there, pulling levers, but I was drenched in sweat. It was minus 35 degrees out there. There is a certain... God, what is the word? Fatalism, perhaps. For a man who goes to sea. That is actually where the term utpeti comes from. Those are sailors who didn't return from sea on time. Mourned as dead, then, bam, they came back. And faith was strongly connected with this. It's not for nothing, they say. He who hasn't sailed hasn't prayed to God. Being a captain's wife is very hard and very scary because he is at sea. Until you see how it all happens, I don't think you can understand. Never. We met at work, but I was very afraid of him. He was such a withdrawn person. But later, when I went on the sea trials, we started talking on the bridge. And at that moment, I think something happened between us. From that moment on, I realized he was my person. To find a partner you can wait for, I don't know, it's hard. A person has to understand that this is forever. I've been in the fleet since I was 16. Before any woman, I already had the fleet. Even our wedding was in question. Because Ivan was held up at work. And I was afraid I'd have to reschedule everything. But I understood perfectly well who I was marrying. Yes, it is for life, but we are ready. We are all under our wives' thumbs. I don't give the orders at home, but our daughters grew up to be beauties. Bell rings. Now that is a proper strike. Unfortunately, they don't hang rinders anymore. And they don't strike the bells. But back when I was starting my career, Captain Kuchev demanded the bells be struck every 4 hours during the shift. To my young colleague, the icebreaker navigator, Alexander Nikolaevich, for good memory, Captain Yuri Sergeyevich Kuchev, and the date. I was struck that a hero of socialist labor, an unreachable man, wrote fatherly words to me. Yuri Sergeyevich came aboard the icebreaker. I was already the captain, and he said, "I want to leave a testament on the icebreaker." And later, when we learned that Yuri Sergeyevich had passed away, we opened that envelope. I ask that my ashes and the ashes of my wife be buried at the North Pole. That is why it is love.
что такая
There is no other kind of love. Love is forever.
всегда.
The icebreaker is my life. The Arctic, yes. By the way, I brought her in from her last voyage. The Arktika had served 33 years. We had exhausted the ship's entire lifespan. The chief engineer said, "Alexander Nikolaevich, do me a favor, shut down the reactor."
Продолжение. Заглушите реактор.
All that was left was to press the red emergency protection button. So I pressed it.
Нажал ее.
That was it.
Все.
It hurts, of course, but what can you do? Such is fate, such is duty,
Обязанность.
such is... I even get goosebumps a little.
Немножко мурашки идут по коже.
This is a ship's clock.
Часы, вот такие судовые часы.
When it was decided to send the Arktika, as sailors say, to the needles,
Говорят, моряки на иголке.
I brought a few things from the Arktika home with me.
Сюда.
You take it, open it, wind it, and close it.
Заводится и закрывается.
Yes. So for me, the Arktika isn't over. It continues.
Но продолжается.
The Arctic, I still think of it as a woman. She is a beautiful, slender snow queen.
Стройная снежная королева.
And we have something to defend in the Arctic.
Арктика — это...
From the root word arctos, it means bear,
Да пускай она будет.
so let her be a she-bear. The main thing is that she has something to defend. Russia grows through the Northern Sea Road.
Северным морским путем.
Mikhail Lomonosov said that.
Михаил Ломоносов сказал.
After all, no one else has a fleet like this. And no one else has this volume of shipping.
Ни у кого нет.
The Europeans are probably envious.
Завидно, наверное.
Welcome aboard. We are all waiting with impatience.
Терпением.
Project Leader, the lead vessel, which will be named Russia.
Называться Россия.
That will probably be a total sensation.
Вообще фурор.
I have a dream now, to live to see the leader and sail the Arctic on it. When I was talking to the young guys, some of you will surely end up on the leader.
На лидер попадет.
Don't forget the old captain.
Старого капитана.
I have to live that long.
Жить надо.
But if I do live, I think my grandson will give me a ride. I gave him rides after all. In our time, we were taught to determine the ship's position by the stars.
По звездам.
We knew dozens of stars and constellations by heart.
Созвездий.
Stunning. This is the third icebreaker we are painting. We are proud to work at the Baltic shipyard. We are painters, grade 3. Do you know why they look at a star? In order to go somewhere, the helmsman must first know how to hold the course.
В первую очередь должен уметь держать курс.
to maintain the chosen direction of movement. This ability to hold the course, to maintain it despite everything, in any conditions. In our business, this is very important. A sense of the authenticity of what is happening, a sense that you are going in the direction you need to go, with the people you need to go with. To go and go and go, to discover, discover, discover. Maybe we'll even reach God. We'll live and see.